Every year on my blog, I like to share a list of the 10 cameras that I've enjoyed using most that year. Each camera brings something different, something novel, and I've enjoyed using all of them. So if you're the kind of person that enjoys looking at cameras, talking about cameras and different things to do with photography and videography, consider subscribing and let's get into the list. I'll be sharing videos about each of the cameras that I talk about throughout the year, so do consider subscribing and don't forget to like and leave a comment saying which is your favourite camera that you've used throughout 2024. Let's get into the list. At number 10 is this, the Sony Amiga Rapid. It's a 6x7 medium format film camera, which is excellent. I think it's really underrated and has one of the most novel kind of winding on features, which you pull out this from the side, which makes it feel like you're cocking a gun or something like that. It's really novel to use. One of the biggest downsides is the weight and the size of it, but it also produces wonderful images. And like I say, I think it's a bit of a gem that's often overlooked. And I'll have another video coming up about this pretty soon, so don't forget to subscribe. At number 9 is the Canon P rangefinder. It's a beautiful camera based a lot around the Leica style rangefinders, and it's a wonderful camera to use. Maybe not as desirable as its Leica counterparts for obvious reasons, but it's still a fantastic camera. I've actually been out using this today and get a lot of pleasure from using it on a regular basis. I just wish I could use it more often, but there's plenty of other cameras to look at, so let's get through the list. At number 8 is the Yashica 124G. I absolutely love this camera. It's a TLR style camera, so you're looking down through the viewfinder, produces wonderful 6x6 images, and it's actually quite affordable for what it is. The only reason that I don't use this as often as I'd like to is because of the cost of film prices and things at the moment, but I've always been happy with the images it produces. And again, I'll be making more content about this camera in the future, and I've also got a blog post linked down below. Lovely camera, great to use, highly recommended. At number 7 is a Canon R6 Mark II, so the first digital camera on the list. I picked this up pretty recently, I think just over a year ago, and it's just to help out as a second body for shooting on commercial gigs and things like that. It's actually been the camera that I pick up probably the most often because it's just so easy to use and so versatile. Very straightforward to pick up and just get great images out without really putting too much effort in. Fantastic camera for the value and more than capable in most situations. At number 6 is the internet's probably most loved camera, the Fuji X100V. This is a camera that I've had a bit of a love-hate affair with because I've always had a bit of an issue with the kind of size of the camera, and I don't think it's as portable as most people like to say it is. But I've actually been using this as a travel camera this year. I've been fortunate to go away on quite a few trips, and this has been the camera that I've relied on. It's actually produced some wonderful images. I'm more than happy with its performance and stuff, and to be honest, there's about 1 million videos out there on the X100V, so I'm sure you know what this camera's all about. But very decent camera, always happy to have it on me, certainly when I'm travelling. And at number 5 is its older sibling, if you want to call it that, the Fuji X10. I love this camera. I've got a video coming out on this very soon. I'm just putting the final touches on that. It obviously doesn't have the image quality of a lot of the modern cameras and things, but it's still a wonderful camera to use on a daily basis. It's so small. This really does fit in pockets, unlike its X100V counterpart, and still capable of producing a pretty decent image, just maybe not in low light, and obviously the resolution's slightly lower, but still a fantastic camera and a beautiful camera to look at as well, which goes well in my books. And at number 4, another Fuji camera. I promise I'm not a Fuji fanboy, they just make very nice cameras, and this is the GFX 50S2. This was bought specifically with a couple of things in mind, certain travel gigs that I had and some corporate work and things like that. I've actually found that I do tend to take this out on the street and try and do a bit of kind of more urban photography with it and stuff, which is fantastic. It produces a beautiful image, and probably the highlight for me is the dynamic range in this camera, which is wonderful. Really takes the thought out of shooting and helps me get great images even in the most difficult circumstances. It's a slower camera to use and obviously incredibly expensive as well for what it is, but still a fantastic camera, and again, love this thing, produces beautiful images. So into my top 3, and this is where it gets interesting. So at number 3 is the Bronica GS1, a 6x7 medium format camera. I absolutely love this. It's obviously a film camera. This is probably my favourite film camera that I've ever used. I think it, again, very much like the Kony, it's a camera that gets overlooked quite a lot. I don't think many people consider this, you know, as highly regarded as things like the RZ67 and stuff. But it's still a fantastic camera, and in the right circumstances, I would say produces just as good an image as any of the Mamiya counterparts and things. So absolutely beautiful camera. I love this. I won't be selling it anytime soon. Happy to see it in my top 3. Another strange choice at number 2, and it's my Canon R5C. Now, I've done a pretty recent video where I've rigged this out, so I talk a lot more about the camera in that video, but this is my absolute workhorse. This is what pays the bills, basically. I've had a problem with the HDMI on this. It has broken, which a lot of people have suffered with. And I've had to consider, do I change to the new Canon C80 or sell all of my cameras and upgrade to the Canon C400? I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows. But it's very difficult to argue with the image quality that comes out of this Canon R5C, and I absolutely love it. It does everything I need it to do. But I gotta say, I love this camera because it is a workhorse and it is the one that pays the bills, so I've got to show it some love. But yeah, fantastic camera. If you're a subscriber to the channel, you won't be shocked by my number 1 camera. It's the Leica M8. I've made a video fairly recently about this, and I absolutely adore this camera. It produces beautiful images. The CCD sensor in this is wonderful as long as you've got a decent amount of light, and I think this is probably my all-time favourite camera that I've used, well, so far at least, and I'm looking forward to using this much more over 2025. Can't see it being replaced, but I do keep being tempted by the Leica M9, but again, I don't know whether I can afford that, and if it meant selling this, I'm not sure I would do that. But I adore this camera, and I'm happy to see it at the top spot of my favourite camera that I've used in 2024. So I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously it's just intended as a bit of fun. I do enjoy using lots of different cameras. I'm looking forward to using lots more different cameras hopefully in 2025. If you do enjoy this kind of content and you want to talk about any of these cameras in depth, let me know in the comments below, and obviously subscribe if you are the kind of person that enjoys talking about cameras and videography and things like that. I'd also be really keen to find out what the favourite camera is that you've used over the last 12 months. I always do like to check these things out. I've got a couple of cameras that I'm waiting to try out and see what they're like for myself, and I always get a lot of inspiration from you guys as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in another video, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. I'll see you in 2025. Thank you.